to it. The biggest headline for the past couple of days originated in stores where Alex Karaban announced he's returning to UConn for his senior season. This did not impact the top 25 and 1 because I've always assumed Karaban would be back at UConn. Still, it's official, and it ends all speculation. So here's my first question for you, Matt Norlander. With a possible starting lineup of Silas Demery, Solo Ball, Jalen Stewart, Alex Karaban, and Terrace Reed, and a five-star freshman coming off the bench, how good can UConn be next season, and do you feel better about UConn heading into next season than you actually felt about UConn heading into this past season?
Oh, better. Not sure on the latter. I'm going to need a full off. I need a full off season to really take that in, ingest it, digest it, let you know.
I've already digested it. You might tell just by looking at me. I've already digested it, so you can continue to digest, but I've digested it. I have an answer.
I'm in the process of ingesting right now. Okay. By the way, you were right. I was wrong. You
say that again.
Yep, you were for Karaban. I thought he would leave. That opinion was also informed by a few people at the NBA level that did their diligence and passed along to me that they very much expected Karaban to go in the draft. So I imagine the past few days on the Karaban front and UConn front, they might have been burrowing down in negotiations. And hey, good for him. He's got a wonderful shot. Karaban does too. If things really can go even better than they went last season, I'll get to that in just a second, then he's got an awesome chance here to, one, make a whole hell of a lot of money. I don't know how much Alex Karaban is making. I don't need to know, but my guess, logic would dictate a player of his value at a program like UConn, which certainly has some money to dish out here. If he's not making at least close to 3, then he's not getting what he's worth. So I would expect him to be at least at 3, if not more than that. And hey, if you can have an awesome senior year, become an All-American, that's a pretty incredible college career, all the same, regardless of whether or not UConn, say, makes another Final Four or not. Now, for your question, is next season's roster better than the one from this past season? I do think the answer is yes. Now, going into last season, I put UConn preseason top 10 more than anything because I wanted to give the program the benefit of the doubt after winning back-to-back championships. But looking at what they have here versus what they had a season ago and the carryover, just what you mentioned before, Demery, okay, he's an incoming transfer, but he's a much bigger player. He's just going to do more as a transfer than, say, Aiden Mahaney, who, by the way, just transferred out, and he's now going to go play at UC Santa Barbara. So Demery was a proven guy that got it done at Georgia. So he comes in. But then you have Solo Ball, Jalen Stewart, Karaban, and Reed all back. I mean, the roster continuation with 4 starting level players, I think, is significant. And because of this, now you've got, and we touched a little bit on this on last week's show, but now that we know Karaban for sure is back in, you got a really good thing here for the Big East and for college hoops, because I do think UConn is going to have a preseason top 10 standing. You've got them where, GP? You've got them 5?
I've got them 4.
So you got them 4. So heading into next season, knowing that you have them 4, UConn will probably wind up from an Associated Press preseason AP top 25 standpoint. And if you want to take any other mainstream ranking, it's going to be in that 3 to 8 range, almost definitely. It's not going to fall out of the top 10. And I think that is based in logic and a really good thing for college basketball, because now you want all your St. John's talk, go find the feed, the most recent episode. You'll have the Johnnies in the preseason top 10, maybe the preseason favorite in the Big East, and if not, it's going to be UConn. So you've got Pitino vying for a Final Four after having the Big East champions in both the regular season and the tournament last year. So you've got UConn versus St. John's. You've got Pitino versus Hurley, and it's viable. I mean, you've got Hurley now, by the way, trying to punch up at Pitino after having a down year, which for UConn, here was your down year. An 8 seed, a 24-11 record, 24-win season, 3rd place in the Big East, and 1 NCAA tournament win. So the good news for UConn is that, yes, it was a down season. It was a season with some disappointment. Coincidentally enough, its season ended at the hands of the team that actually wound up winning the whole damn national championship. But yes, I do think that this roster goes into next season in a much stronger, better place. You mentioned the 5 that you've also got Jaden Ross coming back. You've got Dayton transfer Malachi Smith, who will play backup point. Braylon Mullins is the 5-star prospect you referenced before. I think Eric Reeby, the center, who will play backup to Terrace Reed, has a lot of good potential. They probably need to / will pick up some sort of portal 4-man here that'll have some sort of impact. But yeah, overall, good gains for UConn in general and what they've built here. And a big news week also. They're adding Mike Nardi to the staff, the former Villanova assistant coach, and as Nova a player as it gets there, but he was part of Kyle Neptune's staff, and so that got announced not in conjunction, but within hours, I guess, of Karaban announcing he was returning. Mike Nardi will join the staff, and that means that Tom Moore, who's been the assistant there, I'm told he hasn't quite decided what he's going to do. He may stay on staff in sort of a GM type role. Tom told me a year ago he was considering retiring, so we wait and see on that. But yes, a big news week for the Huskies.
I have UConn 4th in the top 25-1, behind only Houston, St. John's, and Purdue. And just to answer my own question directly, I feel much better about this roster than I felt about last season's roster, even heading into last season. I don't want to have revisionist history. All this stuff is out there for you to Google search. Yes, I had UConn in the top 10 preseason last season, like everybody else. The truth is, I don't want to say I got bullied into it because that's not the right word. It's not the right word.
You did. You got bullied.
Not bullied. That's not the right word. I've been bullied before, but that's not the right word. I looked at the roster and I was like, I don't see it. Like, Alex Karaban's your only returning starter. He is the guy everybody is saying is supposed to be your best player. Can Alex Karaban really be the best player on an elite basketball team? I had real questions about that. But then the betting markets kept saying UConn's the favorite. And Dan Hurley kept saying, I love this roster. It might be better than last season's roster. I don't know if he said that exactly.
Let's just invent quotes. No, I like when we do that on the pod.
Yeah, I don't know what he said exactly. He seemed to suggest that he really liked what he had and really thought it gave him a chance to three-peat. And the betting markets lined up with that. And I just got to a point where I was like, why do I think I'm smarter than Dan Hurley about the UConn roster? Why do I think I'm smarter than the betting markets? Like, at some point I need to fall in line with what everybody else is saying about this thing, because maybe I just don't see it the way everybody else is seeing it. But I had reservations. And then the season happened, and you know how that went. Here's my point. Do you think Alex Karaban's going to be UConn's best player next season? Do you think that?
Oh, Parrish, I'm actually not convinced of that, to be honest.
Me neither. That's what makes me feel better about it. Heading into last season, most people thought he had to be their best player. Mm-hmm. And my concern was, if he's your best player, how good are you? I think heading into next season, Solo Ball should be your best player. And Terrace Reed should maybe be your second best player, which means it's possible, not definite, but possible, when it all shakes out, Alex Karaban could be UConn's third best player. And if Alex Karaban is your third best player, you should have a great team that is in the national championship conversation. That is the main reason I feel better about this UConn roster. You have more proven pieces. Solo Ball, Terrace Reed, I think I can rely on those guys, particularly with the way Reed played down the stretch. And then I don't think Alex Karaban has to be the face of anything. Like, All-American teams, he was on them last season. Is he going to be on them heading into a senior season?
I could see it.
Maybe. I don't think I'll put him there.
Yeah.
So that's why
you'll probably put Solo Ball. I think Solo Ball, if he takes the next step and is deployed the way that he can be deployed and continues to shoot the way he shoots, I think I'm driving the Solo Ball train. So I'm with you on that. But both of them, I'll tell you what, one of them should damn well definitely be on a preseason All-American team. Again, there are 3 teams, so first, second, third, take your pick there. And I see you on that. Provided that Demario, by the way, as the point guard.
He could be great. He's
going to be good. Clicks and meshes and does all of that. They got Malachi Smith coming in. Listen, UConn fans, I know they're damn excited. They were just waiting for the official notice from Karaban. This actually landed right when the NBA announced its official list of early entrants, so all non-seniors, non-graduating college players, and Karaban wasn't on that, and lo and behold, credit to him for doing this. And we talked about this in some ways with reasons why he would do it, because of the money that's to be made there. I get all that, but I genuinely thought, he's won 2 titles. this past season wasn't great, but he did now he played more minutes per game than he had before. He averaged a career high in points and all that. Why not maybe go and try and chase it after you were given, a verbal promise from Golden State a year ago that they would take you and give you guaranteed multi-year money, and instead he's going to come back and try and improve his draft position, because I've got to believe that the feedback he received to this point indicated that he'd be no better than second half of the second round kind of deal. And if he thinks that he can come back to UConn, they can be a Final Four national championship contender again, and he can be better as a senior than he was as a junior. That's going to improve his chances all the more. I like these stories, GP. We can keep going on your thoughts, but I did want to at least bring this up. The fact that we've got, and this is, he's not on an island now, but I do want to highlight the players who are 4-year guys at one school. Yeah, sure, he's getting paid tremendously well, as he damn well should. But Alex Karaban, to do this, as someone who covers the sport, I don't fault a single player for hopping in the portal and trying to go get theirs. They go ahead and do it. But I'm going to appreciate and celebrate the guys that, however they get there, to play 4 years in college at one school and be a high-profile player. Like, Karaban has been a factor every single season of his college career. This was the norm, in 1989 and 1994 in college basketball. It's not that anymore. So we don't get these as frequently. We do get it with Karaban, and that's a good thing for UConn. It's a good thing for the Big East. It is a good thing for college basketball, because he will be among the, 5 to 10 most recognizable players heading into next season.
He's the most obvious example of somebody who should be a 4-year college player at the same program, given what he is and where he enrolled out of high school. Simply put, programs like Duke, UConn should rarely, if not never, lose a non-first round pick that they prioritize, that they want back. Now, there will be times where UConn just doesn't want somebody back. Aid Mahaney's probably a good example of that. There will be other times where you can't keep the guy in school because he's a projected top 10 pick. Stephon Castle, Donovan Clingan, great examples of that. But Alex Karaban is forever a second-round pick. I don't think did anything this past season. I say this respectfully. I'm not trying to be whatever. But I don't think he did anything or much to change his draft status. And the reason I have always had him projected back to UConn through 10 versions of the top 25 and 1 is because he's more valuable to UConn than he is to any NBA franchise. I won't insist that he wouldn't have been picked in the 30s or 40s or 50s had he entered the 2025 NBA draft. And I won't debate that he would have gotten a contract of some sort, like we talked about last week. NBA franchises, because of taxes and aprons and second aprons, they need cheap labor. So, like, your second round pick, we can give you $1.9 million a year. Please, come on. We need people like you to fill out our roster. He would have been in the NBA, but he'd probably spent time in the G League. He'd have probably spent time on Delta flights in row 32B. He'd have probably been playing in some empty arenas, one of which is 10 minutes from my house. Shouts to the Lander Center, home of the Memphis Hustle. As it is, he'll play on a preseason top 5 team, be one of the faces of college basketball, play in sold-out arenas and on national television twice a week. Private planes, nice hotels. His life will be better as a senior at UConn than it would be as an NBA rookie. And I don't, I'm not going to sit here and say you got $2 million, $3 million. I ain't seen any contract, but I imagine he's making more at UConn than he would have made next year as a professional. And I know there's some thought when it comes to NBA people about, well, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is you got to get your NBA clock started as quickly as possible so that you can get to your second. People like Alex Karaban should never be worried about their second contract. I mean, yes, you should be worried about it, but it is Alex Karaban should be concerned about making as much money in a place where he wants to be next season as possible, and then worry about all the other stuff later, because frankly, he doesn't project as somebody who's going to get some big lucrative second contract, not based on where he's projected to be picked someday in the NBA draft. Never rule it out. Never say never. But I'd be worried about next season more than getting to my second contract as quickly as possible. And that's why I think he did quite literally the most sensible thing he could do here.
It's a good looking roster for UConn. Look forward to seeing this team next season. And, because it's coached by Dan Hurley, and he is the face of the sport as much as anyone else. You can easily make that case right now. Just the motivations and everything attached to coming back after falling short, going for the three-peat and all that. And again, the entanglement with St. John's, that's really, really good stuff. By default here, you've got St. John's and UConn as two of the four best teams in the country, but St. John's technically your preseason favorite in the Big East, correct?
St. John's, I have second in the top 25-1, the favorite in the Big East, but I have, like I said, St. John's and UConn in the top 4. So the Big East is the only school or the only conference with multiple teams in the top 4. I like St. John's roster a little more than I like UConn's roster, but I mean, the margins are very thin. Yeah. And just circling back to UConn, I don't think I shouldn't say there's no doubt, but I do expect Solo Ball to have a All-American level jump. Like I will project him as a high level All-American, first team, second team. He's going to be up there. I mentioned Terrace Reed earlier. He obviously has to be more consistent. But he showed flashes of like, oh man, he could be really good. And I could see a breakthrough season coming from him. He averaged like nearly 10-7. So a breakthrough season puts you at all conference level stuff statistically. And I just think if you got Solo Ball, Terrace Reed, Alex Karaban, all playing at all conference levels, which isn't hard to imagine for me, then you've got a team that could win a third national championship in a 4-year span. I don't want to spend every week of the offseason talking about, can UConn do it? I'm just saying on paper, they look like the type of team that can.